So we got what we wanted. So we wanted to build this front end and back end, and the dashboard looks good. I mean, of course, I'm not a great designer, and I'm not even asking Claude to just design it very beautifully. It works for as an internal tool. And the option which I wanted, I got that. I can just go back and I can move things, I can delete things. Now I can do all those things. Example, if I want to delete any of this, if I delete this part or this particular task, and if I say, okay, why I can't delete this? This action can be done. Okay, there's some issue with the delete one now, but we'll fix that. But let me try deleting something else. Okay, the delete API is not working now. So before this session, I was doing some experiment, and maybe because of that, it went bad, but we'll fix it. Just one prompt and this will be fixed. But what's important is we are able to move, and okay, where that part went. These are the bugs we have to solve, a lot of bugs. But when I try to move, as an admin, I can move everything. I can even delete. That is not working, but imagine that is working. It might be working for you. Weirdly, I was doing some experiment. I was just avoid testing and those stuff. In fact, I wrote one of the prompt by saying, don't do smoke test for every changes, because while recording is taking a lot of time, but you don't skip that. But the moment I move to content team, something is changing. Now I can't, so as a content creator, I can't move these cards. Yeah, if the card is there here, I can move it. But if there's some cards on some other lanes, I can't do that. But as an editor, now I can move this too, not this part. As an uploader, I can move this one. So these are the access which we are giving. Only admin can drag back. Okay, as admin, I can drag back. So I can do this as admin. But the problem is this particular level of security is fake security. And it is not even a security, just a UX thing where you are changing. In the ideal world, if my team is working with me as a content creator or content team or editor or uploader, they will be having their own username and password. Of course, right? They will log in and then they will do this stuff. So how do we do that in the backend? So this particular section it's totally on security. Now, how do we do it? Of course, you can apply a simple username password, but that will be a very simple example. In real world, we use JWT or some other type of authentication or authorization. Here, we are going to use JWT. Now, how this works, just to give an example, and then I will explain what will happen is, so let's say you go to a adventure park. Now, basically, when you go there, of course, you have to pay for it. They will check for your government ID card or maybe your age proof, depending upon what kind of activities are there. Now, once you pay the amount, once you have provided all the details, so let's say you have entered into the adventure park. And even after that, there are certain rides where they will verify if you are suitable for that age, for that particular activity. Not all the rides are available for everyone, right? So some are age specific and some are weight specific, some are vision specific, and a lot of things is a part of it. Now, ignore all the other criteria. It's just that, can you do this activity? And second, have you paid for it? Now, every time you will not keep paying, right? There should be some way so that when you go inside, you can access anything based on some token. And that's what in the earlier days you used to get those chits or receipt. Now they use a band, right? So when you go to a pub as well or any other place where you have to pay and then you can just re-enter the same place, you get a band. And if you have a band, you can access. So that's the idea here. Once you are logged in, once you authenticate yourself, they will basically give you a band, and that band is a token. Now, every time you go to a server, you will carry the same token, you will carry the same band, and if the band is there, server says welcome. Otherwise, it will just send you back to the login page or to the ticketing area. So here, this is how the JWT works. The first step is the login. So when you go to the login page, it will ask you for your credentials. And once you give the credentials, it will hit this API, which is API/auth/login. It might change based on the project, but just for the demo, we have this particular URL, and this will be a post request. Now, once you send it, of course, from the backend side, it has to verify this detail. Now, it will look for the database and it will verify if you are real, or if you are that person who you are saying. If I'm saying I'm Naveen, I'm a really Naveen. So if I have the username password of Naveen, I'm in, right? The second part here is, of course, username can be a simple text, but what about the password? Do you want to store the password as a plain text in the database? We don't want to do that, right? So, and that's why we can use something called a bcrypt, which will encode your password multiple times. And that will take care of hijacking all those stuff. So we'll be using bcrypt for the password storing. Now, once it is verified, once you know, yeah, that's right, he is that person, in that case, it will give you a token, which is your access token. Now, this access token from the server side will go back to the browser. And then on the browser, the local storage, you'll be having this token stored. Next time, whenever you want to talk to the server, let's say if you want to get the task, if you want to move a task or delete a task, at that point, you have to send this token again. If you don't send this token again, it will say, who are you? Go back to the login page. But now I have a token. That's the band. Now I can go back to the server, and then server will check for whatever operation you are doing. Of course, we know that the server is, the person who is trying to access, they're valid. They have their account with us. But do you have the access for it? Example, as an admin, I can create the task, I can move the task, I can delete a task. But what about other roles? As an editor, I can't delete a task. Now that's where we have to check for the roles as well. And that's where we can use something called RBAC. Do we have a short pronunciation for that? RBAC? Not sure. But in fact, I always say role-based access control. I'm using this short form for the first time. Thanks, AI. But yeah, so we got RBAC here, which is a gatekeeper, which will check for the token and it will verify what role you have. And based on that role, do you have the access to do this? If you have the access, great. If you don't, it will throw a 403 error, which is access denied. And let's say if you have the access, it will render the page. You can see the thing now. So that's the entire flow of JWT. Just to revisit. So once you are logged in, once you provide your login details, it will verify, it will generate a token for you, and that token you will store that in the local storage. And every time you try to access a particular API, which is behind that wall, you have to pass your token as well. If you're not passing token, it will send you the login page and say you are not allowed here. But if you have a token, a valid token, that's important, okay? Anyone can create a token, right? Anyone create a band, but then before they give you the band, they give their stamp, provided you can't replicate the stamp. But let's say if it's a very, very unique stamp, no one can replicate it. And that's what we want. We want to have a stamp which no one can replicate. It should be your secret key, right? No one should have that. That sounds good, yeah. But I'm still thinking, can we just create a stamp like that, which no one can replicate? Anyway, that's a different point. In digital world, we can do that. And then if everything goes well, you can render the wave. This is what we want. Now coming back to the role-based access control, so these are the limitations which we can put. So as an admin, I can get the task, I will get this response, I can create a task, I can edit a task, I can delete a task. Everything works here. Then as a content team, I can get all the tasks, I can create a new task, I can update a task, but only which is in code ready format or code ready card. Delete, I can't. As a video editor, I can do this, others I can't create a new task, but I can update my own task. As an uploader, I can do this, I can do this. Others, we don't have the access. So this is what we want. Okay, perfect. Ignore the last column. I don't know why it was there. AI slop.